The following program is a color feature presentation on the HSM Television Network.
Shotgun for Tim Tebow. Sets, throws, pass, caught.
And there is Thomas out over the 45 midfield. Here we go. 40, 35, 20, 15, 10. Touchdown. Denver is over.
Short drop, quick throw, left side.
Yes! The right side. Touchdown.
Al Harris, game-winning touchdown. Green Bay Packers.
Welcome to Basically a Football Show.
Basically a Football Show. Week 15 in the National Football League and our first weekend of college football bowl games.
Can you believe it's week 15 in the NFL already? All of a sudden, here we are.
It's like that every year.
Yeah.
You forget how short the season actually is, and then you get to the end and you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like it wasn't 2 weeks ago we were talking about teams being 3-0.
Well, some of those teams that started off great are in the dumpster. Some of those teams that started off in the dumpster are working their way up. We'll start on Thursday, and one of those teams that did start off pretty well and has thoroughly placed themselves at the bottom of the dumpster. The Los Angeles Rams went up to Seattle. Seahawks beat them pretty convincingly in those highlighter uniforms. All the Rams wore their
grab something out of the hamper and throw it together and see what we can come up with uniforms.
Didn't come out so well. Didn't make them play any better either, as those Seahawks win 24-3. Jared Goff knocked out late in this game. In the event that Goff may not start, which is possible at this point, Sean Mannion might finally get his first NFL start this weekend.
I don't know why, but I just have a feeling that Mannion's going to go out there and light it up. But yeah, the uniforms look terrible. The Rams, who normally give the Seahawks all sorts of trouble, gave them no trouble whatsoever. And here we are.
The Seahawks have rounded into form. They're 7-0 at home. It looks like they're on their way to the second seed. The Seahawks actually clinched the division with the win over the Rams. So the third team to clinch a playoff spot, fourth team to clinch a playoff spot already. So we move from Thursday to Saturday, first Saturday game of the season. And it always seems that the Jets are the ones that get the first crack at it. And they hosted the Dolphins, and things did not go well for the Jets. Things went very well for the Dolphins. And Matt Moore in his first start of the season for Miami as the Dolphins win 34-13. Matt Moore, 12 of 18, 236, and 4 TDs. Not too bad.
Dolphins did exactly what they had to do in this game, which is go out with their backup quarterback and play well. And this Jets team, while bad, they're not terrible like Browns, 49ers level terrible. And it was good to see Matt Moore go out there and play well. That's got to be a good boost for the Dolphins. And now, 9-5. We were talking about, say, back in week 3, week 4 or 5, whatever. Neither one of us had the Dolphins sitting here at 9-5 at this point. I don't remember how many times we both said, the Dolphins aren't going to be there this year, and here they are. A big win for them, even though it was against the Jets. This is still an important win for the Dolphins.
Colts, Vikings.
What a shocker.
What a big shocker, really. I mean, huge for the Colts. They go into Minnesota, and they beat up the Vikings 34-6. They're 2 games behind the Dolphins for a playoff spot, but they're also 1 game out of the division lead still in the AFC South. So huge for the Colts and huge on the other side in a negative fashion for the Vikings. I think you could say the Vikings are done now, right?
I think they're done, barring a bunch of unforeseen stuff, because they would have to win out. Packers would have to lose out. There's a lot of things that would have to happen for the Vikings to get in at this point.
The Vikings tried to bring back Adrian Peterson in this game. I think he only had like 26 yards. Bradford was 32 of 42. I don't know if you're the Vikings. I don't know if you really want Bradford throwing for 42.
32 of 42 is good, but that's not how the Vikings are going to win football games.
Yeah, and he completed 32 passes for just 291 yards. So it's not like he
sounds like a lot of 5-yard outs, basically.
And you allow Frank Gore and the Indianapolis Colts, who cannot run the ball. You allow them at least a 100-yard rusher in Frank Gore.
Wow.
Not a solid performance there by the Vikings. So I'd put them out the pasture.
They're done. They're behind Washington, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, the Giants. I just don't see them catching any of those teams.
The Colts are hanging around. Should the Texans fall? Should the Titans not finish things out? Colts could just sneak up at the end and end up in this thing. But the Vikings fall out of the NFC North race, and getting that 1-game lead over them now is your Packers with a 30-27 win.
What a game.
Exciting game.
Yeah.
Probably closer than you'd like if you're playing a lowly team like the Bears.
Packers had a 17-point lead in this and almost blew it. If it were not for Aaron Rodgers and his ability to throw a 60-yard right-on-the-money ball from any position, including standing on his head, they lose this game. They won, and it's great, but boy, you don't want it to be that close against the Bears team, especially when you've got to run the table to win the division. And I'm looking at that going, if you're having that kind of trouble stopping the Bears with a 17-point lead, how are you going to do against the Lions in Detroit?
The Packers' fate is in their own hands here.
Absolutely.
If they win the next two games, they can get into that division lead right now.
I think the way the tiebreakers are set up, if the Packers win out, they win the division.
Okay.
The Lions are in a tough spot. I said it a couple weeks ago that this thing could get away from them fast, and it's getting away from them fast.
The Texans and the Jaguars. Brock Osweiler got benched in this game.
This should have happened 8 weeks ago, but go ahead.
Tommy Savage comes in and leads the Texans to the comeback victory, 21-20. They stayed 8-6. They stayed tied for first place. The Jaguars fall to 2-12 and fire head coach Gus Bradley. They were a team that was supposed to turn the corner this year.
We've been talking about Gus Bradley and these Jaguars being right on the verge of putting it together for like 3 years now, and it just never happened.
We think that they have the talent. They showed some signs at some point that there were things to like about them.
I think they've got some players on defense. They've got a couple of players on offense, but they're a lot further away than we thought they were.
Blake Bortles is not the answer either.
No, the jury has come back on him, and the verdict is you're not a good quarterback.
Yeah. And I mean, but speaking of who's good at quarterback or not, Brock Osweiler getting benched for Tom Savage, who, as we talked about on the sports show yesterday, we had no idea this guy existed. Tom Savage is going to start the next game for Houston, too.
As he should. I mean, let's be honest about it. Osweiler has done nothing to make me think that he shouldn't be benched.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. So, I mean, I get where the Texans are coming from because he was Manning's backup. He looked halfway decent in a couple games with the Broncos last year. But, man, oh, man, that's a lot of money to dump into a guy that I'm pretty sure isn't very good.
It's one of those things that we've seen it plenty of times where the star quarterback on a good team gets injured. The backup comes in. It does okay.
Exactly. I think that he was a guy that you looked at and thought he could be a good game manager in that Broncos scheme. He wasn't going to kill him. And the Texans thought, we are kind of like the Broncos. We have a pretty good defense. We play a pretty, I guess, conservative offense. He would be a good game manager for us. Well, turns out not so much.
Yeah,
I think the Texans have got to be the worst 8-6 team I've ever seen.
I hope the Titans do it, just so we can see something different.
I'd say something else, too, with the Titans. Marcus Mariota's quietly come on and started playing pretty good football here. I don't think anybody signed Marcus Mariota as a game manager, but he's turned out to be not a half bad one.
Yeah, well, let's bring that in right now just so we can, since we're talking about it. The Titans beat the Chiefs 19-17 in Kansas City. The Chiefs, a lot of people thought they were the best team in the AFC. I mean, they've beaten the Raiders twice.
Yeah, but the Chiefs have also had a couple of really dumb losses at home too.
I think the thing to take out of this, if you're the Chiefs, you got shut out in the second half at home against. Yes, okay, the Titans are coming on here a little bit, but
they're the Titans.
They're still the Titans.
Yeah,
this is the type of game as to why I cannot buy into the Chiefs.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, yes, you have 10 wins. You're not a bad team. You're just not a championship team.
Exactly.
Championship teams don't lose this game.
I'm looking at their schedule right now, and I said they had two dumb losses. Ironically enough, both by the same score, 19-17 at home against the Bucs, a team they should have beaten at home. Maybe on the road, not so much. Maybe if you're in Tampa, it's a little bit tougher because the Bucs aren't half bad. But that's a game you've got to win. If you're a championship team, that's a win on your schedule. Same with the Titans, and they lost both those games. I agree with you completely. That's why I can't buy them as a serious threat to win the AFC.
And think about some of the games they've even won. The Atlanta game with the 2-point conversion, or the 2 point that goes the other way.
Yep.
That's a game they should lose.
Yep.
Thanks to Eric Berry, they pulled it out of the fire. Think of to the Chargers in week 1. They were going to lose that game too.
Yep.
You got to give credit to the team that does win the games. But at a certain point when you're trying to separate who's a championship contender and who's not, you look at the nature of some of these things and you find things that you may not be completely comfortable with.
Here's the thing with the Chiefs, and I agree with you completely. This is why I don't think they're a championship team either. Do you have any faith in them being able to go into Foxborough and beat the New England Patriots in January? No.
I'm
not saying it couldn't happen, but no one in their right mind's betting on that to happen. I like the Chiefs an awful lot, but you're right. They're not championship caliber, and they're really a couple of bounces away from maybe not even being at 10 wins. And they're not a championship team. I wish they were, but they're not.
The Browns lost again. They're 0-14.
On the Browns, real quick, you got Chargers at home at the Steelers. They're not winning a game this year.
I think we still said that the Chargers game's a maybe.
Yeah, but you know what?
And with the Chargers now knowing basically they're going to be moving to LA, they have no motivation whatsoever.
Other than just professional pride, where you don't want to be the team that loses to the Cleveland Browns, especially when the Browns are 0-14 when you lose to them. No one wants to be that team.
Ravens pull one out of the fire against the Eagles, fend off a late comeback to hang on 27-26. Important for the Ravens. If they lose this game, then they're a game behind, 2 games behind the Steelers at that point.
Oh, yeah, they're effectively done at that point.
So they're still a game out of the wild card. They're a game behind Miami, and they're a game behind Pittsburgh. I don't have faith in the Ravens. I haven't had faith in them all year. I mean, I was surprised that they got up to 8 when we talked about it at the beginning of the year. I didn't think they were very good.
I thought they were going to be better. I didn't think they'd be in the hunt for the division better.
And Ryan Matthews, big day for the Eagles. 20 carries, 128 yards. And a TD. We mentioned it quickly, but Giants beat the Lions 17-6. The Giants are just specializing in these tight games against these offenses that have really put up some points. And that's the thing that kind of scares you if you're somebody in the NFC. Giants are lurking around. They're a wild card team, 10-4, but they're putting together a string of very complete, solid efforts, all around solid efforts that you don't want to see come January.
I think you said it 3 or 4 weeks ago. They're starting to put together one of those, the Giants win the Super Bowl type seasons, and they really are.
The Giants are doing well rushing 3 down linemen. That's what made them successful when they beat the Patriots the first time. Yep. That's what made them successful the second time too, really, is they don't have to blitz the linebackers. They get the D line is doing its job, getting to the quarterback, and that lets the rest of the defense do its job and play its position and really suffocate these teams. I mean, the Lions have put up a ton of points this year. Matthew Stafford is almost an MVP candidate with the numbers he's put up, but the Giants were able to successfully kind of suffocate the Lions.
Anybody that knows football knows if you can get 3 guys rushing and get good pressure, how much better that makes your defense overall. I mean, you brought it up. Let's everybody else do their jobs. This Giants team's good. I mean, they've quietly put together a really good season, and they've got all the things in place that you need to have in place to win playoff football games.
In Cincinnati, the Bengals actually got into a good start in this one. They were up 20-9 at halftime, but the Steelers shut them out in the second half and mount a comeback for the 24-20 win. Steelers probably had to work a little bit harder than they wanted to in this one, but they win. They're 9-5, first place in the division. There needs to be a lot of change in Cincinnati in the offseason.
I'll tell you what, I'll be amazed if Marvin Lewis survives this season.
But something else that's been brought up, and I guess I get the point, but I think you still need to do the change for change's sake. Andy Dalton is he's just good enough where you don't really want to replace him. And then Marvin Lewis is just good enough a coach where you don't want to replace him. He's not done a great job, and he's been there for far too long, I think. But who's the guy that you're going to get to replace him that's going to be that much of a difference?
The way I look at it with the Bengals is that they've had talented teams in Marvin Lewis's tenure there. But how many games have they lost because they're undisciplined or they do just dumb things? Maybe that's the key difference. Maybe you just get a guy in there that's going to make them a little more disciplined because they've got talent. There's no question about it. Mm-hmm. But I think Andy Dalton he's in the Alex Smith category of quarterbacks. He's okay. But you're right. What do you do? Who do you go out there that's going to be better?
Falcons get their second straight rout of an NFC West team, 41-13 over the Niners.
What are we thinking of this Falcons team? Are they actually good?
No, they're like the Chiefs. They're too inconsistent. They have some nice wins in their repertoire, but they also have some losses where it's like, I don't know about you.
I think they're dangerous. They're a team that could beat anyone. I just don't know if they will or not.
Like the Chiefs, they're good, but they're just not a championship team.
I think the Falcons are closer than the Chiefs are. I shouldn't say closer, but if you wanted me to pick the one that was more likely to go on some sort of magical run and win the conference, I think the Falcons have a better shot at it than the Chiefs do.
Over to the College Bowl slates, and of course, if you were listening last week, which why shouldn't you be? Greg and I are picking every single College Bowl game, and we're recording this on Tuesday afternoon. The Boca Raton Bowl has not yet been played, so through the 5 games on Saturday and the 1 game on Monday, Greg is 3-3. I am currently 4-2 with our picks. So Greg obviously terrible, and I am obviously very good.
Yeah, that 1 game difference. But I got Appalachian State right. I said they'd beat my Rockets, and I think you picked the other guys, the Rockets, the other guys.
Going through some of these bowl games, in the first bowl game of the day, we had the Gildan, New Mexico Bowl on Saturday. New Mexico beats UT San Antonio 23-20. I didn't know before the game that New Mexico was had the largest, had the best yards per game offensively in the NCAA. So
really,
I guess I made a good pick there.
Yeah, I guess so.
You picked San Antonio. It was only New Mexico's second bowl win in 55 years.
Wow.
So good for New Mexico to win the New Mexico Bowl.
I was close, though. Texas San Antonio only lost by 3.
Yeah. In the Las Vegas Bowl, we both picked San Diego State, and they rolled over Houston 34-10. Darnell Pumphrey sets the FBS record for rushing yards for a career in the game. He obviously broke Marshall Faulk's records earlier in the year for the Aztecs.
A little controversy with this one, though, because I guess some of the stats didn't count from back in the old days or something or whatever. And
let the kid have the record.
That's what I say, too. I mean, so what?
So SDSU knocks off Houston. Not a great end to the season for Houston. You lose your coach, you lose your bowl game.
Yeah, because they were a good football team. I mean, they had some nice wins, and they were tough, and it just kind of fell apart on them.
Yeah, it's kind of something that happens in these bowl games. You get some teams that just don't really care too much about it.
Yep.
And then in the one that, yes, you called, and I got completely wrong, the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl, Appalachian State 31, Toledo 28. They get the win there over your Toledo Rockets.
I knew that Appalachian State was going to win this game because they just seem to be. I mean, they're only their second year in FBS, right? Or maybe third at the best. So yeah, I mean, and they're already playing in bowl games. That's how good that program is. That they went 10-3 this year in their second year, which is not bad. And the Rockets, well, they've got to find a way to play a little bit of defense. What can you say?
That one, where was that one played? Do you remember? Is that in Mobile?
At Alabama. It was Birmingham or Mobile. I don't remember which one, but yeah, it's Alabama.
In the Auto Nation Cure Bowl in Orlando, I believe, Arkansas State knocks off the hometown UCF Knights 31-13. Arkansas State, not a great offensive day, but they still beat UCF thanks to performances elsewhere. The Red Wolves with the victory.
I think I had UCF in that one, didn't I?
You did. I had Arkansas State. That was where I was, again, the superior football mind. And then in the New Orleans Bowl, we both picked Louisiana Lafayette. We were both wrong as Southern Miss gets a few record-setting performances by Alanze Staggers.
11 catches for 230. Not bad.
Yeah, 28-21 Southern Miss over Louisiana Lafayette. The Raging Cajuns, a little angrier after that one.
Yeah, doing some serious raging after that. So do you know what Southern Miss is famous for? Or like
Brett Favre?
Okay, I didn't know if you knew that or not. Yeah.
Brett Favre, my high school shared their logo.
Okay.
So, I think they've changed it since then, but anyway. On Monday, we only had one bowl game. The Miami Beach Bowl, of course, played in scenic Marlins Park. Tulsa puts up some record-setting performances in this one, 55-10 over the Central Michigan Chippewas.
Did they set off the thing in center field whenever someone scored a touchdown? Because if they didn't, it was a complete waste of effort. They had to do it.
I would hope they did. I didn't see it. I don't know.
I'm betting that a whole lot of people didn't see that game.
Yeah, we both picked Tulsa in that one, so we were both right, and that leaves us where we are. We already picked some just as contingencies, so we'll go through those real quick. Tonight is Tuesday, so the Boca Raton Bowl. I picked Memphis, you picked Western Kentucky as the two meet in. Where would you think? Boca Raton.
Of course.
Wednesday, the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl in Qualcomm Stadium, BYU, Wyoming. We both picked the Cowboys of Wyoming. And Thursday, we had picked the famous Idaho Potato Bowl in Albertson Stadium in Boise with the blue field. We both picked Colorado State because Idaho plays in the barn. And we were informed,
yes,
after the fact, that Idaho is indeed, because of all the, they're not being able to hang with these big boys in terms of stadium or football prowess, they are moving down to FCS either next year or the year after.
Yes, our friend of the show, Dennis from the boards, told us that, so thank you for that. And Now they'll probably go from having the weirdest stadium in FBS to one of the coolest stadiums at the FCS level. So there's that.
Well, they'll have to compete with North Dakota and the Fargo Dome for that honor. So we picked those 3 games, but let's move through the rest of these, try to get some picks in for the rest of the week. So after Thursday, on Friday, we've got a few bowl games to go through. First off, the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl played at Thomas A. Robin National Stadium in Nassau, Bahamas. Eastern Michigan versus Old Dominion. I did not know Old Dominion had a football team. I knew they had a basketball team.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that. I didn't know that either.
A smaller school. But, hey, Old Dominion, I believe they're the Royals.
I don't know what they are. There's something.
I know their mascot's a lion.
Yeah, what?
What do you think? Eastern Michigan and the Old Dominions.
You know what? I mean, in all seriousness, this is a tough one to call because I don't know anything about either one of these teams. I'm going to go with Old Dominion just because they've got a better record. And they're Old Dominion. They don't go to many bowl games, not like Eastern Michigan's a bowl staple or anything. But I got to think this is a big deal for Old Dominion. So I'm taking the Old Dominion Royal Lion people thing to win this one.
Eastern Michigan, being the only team that I actually knew had a football team out of those two. I'm not going to pick them because have you seen their uniforms and what they do? They put like that steel pattern that the Oregon Ducks used to have.
Oh, no.
Steel plating. They have that on their numbers and on their helmet. So I, too, will go with Old Dominion just based on that.
Old Dominion, the Monarchs, by the way. Is the
Monarchs.
The Monarchs,
Right.
yes.
Well, close enough. Royals, Monarchs.
Yeah,
Kings.
we were on the right path.
Same idea. And hell, yeah, Old Dominion winning the Bahamas Bowl. Why not?
Why not?
In Fort Worth, we also have the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Louisiana Tech versus number 25 in the nation, the Navy Midshipmen.
Man, I can't find it within myself to pick against Navy, but I got a good feeling about Louisiana Tech in this. But I'm going to go with the Midshipmen. I think that they take that triple option offense and give Louisiana Tech fits, and they win this game.
I got to agree with you too. I think Navy looks pretty good for most of the season. They're not a bad team whatsoever. They did lose the Army for the first time in 14 years. I don't think we even talked about that one, unfortunately. But they
yeah, we talked about it.
Did we?
Yeah,
huge win by Army. That was great. But Navy shown themselves to be a actually good team throughout the season, so I will give them the nod here too.
I would just say though, Louisiana Tech is a 6.5 point favorite in this one.
Really?
Yes. But I'm sticking with the Midshipmen. I can't pick against the Service Academy. Come on, that would make me a communist or something. I can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, well, you got the Service Academy and what? Terry Bradshaw, you?
Yeah, I think that's where he's from, right? Yeah.
Him and the Duck Dynasty guy. So. Of course, a classic bowl game up there among some of the more historic and tenured, the Dollar General Bowl in Lad Peebles Stadium in Mobile, Alabama. Ohio Bobcats and the Troy Trojans. 8 p.m. ESPN. What do you got?
I'm taking Troy all the way in this one. OU just not a bad team, but they have trouble scoring points, and Troy is usually pretty good, so I'm taking Troy.
I'll go Ohio Bobcats.
All right.
Just, because we picked too many of the same teams already.
And I think my friend Mick will probably be going to this game. So, Mick, if you're listening, enjoy yourself. And Mobile, I'm sure it's I've heard it's the New Orleans of Alabama.
It's the Paris of the South.
Right.
Yeah. I've heard that the city is on wheels, and that's what makes it mobile. Is that correct?
Right. They roll it around to where they need it to be.
No, is that wrong? Oops. But we move on from Friday to Saturday, Christmas Eve, and the traditional Christmas Eve bowl game that is the Hawaii Bowl. And you get Hawaii versus Middle Tennessee in Aloha Stadium. Hawaii Rainbow Warriors in the Middle Tennessee Middle Ears.
I'm taking Middle Tennessee in this one.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. I like the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders.
Blue Raiders. There you go.
The Blue Raiders, the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders, yes.
Well, see, the Blue Raiders have doomed themselves in this game because they stick to just one color, whereas the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors pick all the colors. So I will go with Hawaii in the Hawaii Bowl.
And I think Hawaii, the sooner they bring back those horrible old uniforms with the UH and the rainbow on the helmet, the better. That was just, they were bad, but they were so bad they were good. Okay.
So that's the only game on Christmas Eve. No games on Christmas. Monday, we got 3 games on Boxing Day. St. Petersburg Bowl, Miami of Ohio versus Mississippi State in Tropicana Field in scenic St. Pete, Florida.
Yeah, St. Pete's a nice town. It's actually, it is kind of scenic in some places. Okay, now we talked yesterday on the sports show about there being too many bowl games. This is a perfect example of that. Miami of Ohio, 6-6, Mississippi State 5-7. Come on. If you've got a scrape solo that you're putting a 500 team in against a team with a losing record, we've got too many games. That being said,
and what better place to play a 6-6 versus 5-7 game in Tropicana Field?
Right. Let's go play a game at a Sam's Club that no one's going to watch and no one's going to go to. But I'm taking Mississippi State, and it's going to be ugly, 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 ugly.
Yeah, I mean, Miami of Ohio has the better record, right? They're 6-6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even so,
Miami 6-6 playing in the MAC.
Yeah, 6-6 playing the MAC. Mississippi State 5-7 playing the SEC. I think that's a pretty easy SEC win on their slate. You'd be kind of stupid to go the other way, I think.
Yep, I agree. Mississippi State 14-point favorite, by the way.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Later in the day, the Quick Lane Bowl played in, again, scenic Detroit, Michigan. Nothing better than Detroit, Michigan in, late December.
Right. I will say this, at Ford Field, you can go up and look out the window and see Comerica Park. So that's not bad, right?
That's not bad.
Yeah.
But you get Maryland versus Boston College in Ford Field, Detroit.
Well, that's a tough one to call.
Again, this would be a great basketball game.
Yeah. Who do you like in this one? I'm going to let you pick this one first.
Oh, I'm surprised Maryland was even bowl eligible.
Mm-hmm.
I like BC in this one. Good Catholic university.
I'm going with Maryland in this one because I think Maryland is psyched to be in a bowl game, and I think a Boston College team at 6-6, it's a bit of a disappointing season for the Eagles. So I'll take the Terrapins in this one.
I'll stick with my convictions. And a team that shouldn't be in the Big Ten doesn't get to win things. And then to finish off Monday, the Camping World Independence Bowl in, again, scenic Shreveport, Louisiana. NC State taking on Vanderbilt.
Man.
NC State.
I'm going to go Vanderbilt. Yeah, just for fun. I mean, other than I just like Vanderbilt better. That's the only argument I got for picking them. It's two 6-6 teams. They're both not very good. Anything could happen.
Yeah,
I think NC State's got a better offense, though. Maybe I'll switch my pick and go with the Wolfpack.
I'm
going with the Wolfpack, too. I'm going to go with NC State. I'm changing my mind on that one.
Well, I was going to go with NC State, but I'll go with Vanderbilt now.
Okay. No, you're just to be contrary.
No, it's not just to be contrary. In some ways, sure. But it's like I have them pretty equal in my head, too. Like, I know NC State gave some teams some trouble, but so did Vanderbilt. And
I'm looking at it from NC State's got the more explosive offense, I'm assuming. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think Vanderbilt is a team that's going to put 50 points on the board. I think NC State might be able to. I don't know.
Not sure.
It could be a 2-2 tie for all I know. I mean, I know very little about either one of these teams. I do like Vanderbilt's helmets. I'll say that.
We get a loaded bowl card for next Tuesday, the 27th. The Zaxby's Heart of Dallas Bowl. You get Army versus North Texas playing in the Cotton Bowl.
Okay, another example here. 5-7 North Texas, the Mean Green Machine or whatever they're called.
Mm-hmm.
First off, I'm picking Army in this game. I think Army's going to beat the daylights out of them. Well, they should. They're a 10-point favorite. But, I mean, come on. If you've got to pick a team like North Texas to fill a bowl slot, that's telling me you've got too many bowl games. And I love the bowl games. Don't get me wrong, but this is ridiculous. Army all the way.
I will also be taking Army in this game. I I liked how they played in that last game against Navy, and North Texas probably shouldn't be in a bowl game.
Right.
The Military Bowl presented by Northrop Grumman, the helicopter people.
Yeah.
This one being played at the Navy Marine Corps Stadium in Annapolis. Number 24 Temple versus the cheating Wake Forest.
Well, now Wake Forest didn't cheat, just the radio announcer.
Right. We never talked about that.
No, I know. We never got to. We'll have to get to it next week.
But what a weird story that is.
Well, and the thing about that, and you're going to understand this better than anybody, is that really is not going to help media relations with football teams.
No.
I mean, it's bad enough already at the college and pro level, but now, I mean, they're extra paranoid to start, and now you've got this. Come on.
And for a guy that it's the radio team. If you've ever heard college football radio announcers, they're some of the most homerific people in all sports broadcasting.
Absolutely.
And they're allowed to be, and that's fine. But this is also a guy that played for Wake Forest, was a coach for Wake Forest.
Yeah.
What in the world would he have to sabotage Wake Forest?
Either he's aggravated about something that he felt he was slighted by the Wake Forest administration or coaching staff or whatever, or money. The only two things I can think of.
Yeah, it's just such a weird thing. I hope more comes out about it, because I need to know more about this, because that's such a as somebody that's you and I, people that have been in that position before, to dealing with teams, and you could possibly relay information to anybody, but you don't, because you're not supposed to. You're trying to keep it level playing field and whatever. But just weird. And you would think, if anything, he would be like learning things from the other team and then telling Wake Forest about it. Not the other way around.
It's it's just got problems at so many levels. I mean, it's an ethical thing from a journalism standpoint. You just don't do that. And his career is over. He can forget it. He's never going to work again, and not in this business anyway.
And I mean, of all schools to do it for, the Wake Forest football team. Come on.
Anyway, I'm liking the Temple Owls in this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Temple too. It's just because of this scandal too, and but Temple had some good wins down the stretch. I'll go with Temple.
Yeah, they're 10-3. They're ranked number 24. So yeah,
I'm okay with that. National Funding Holiday Bowl, always a solid one, but not a Big 12 team in here as it is normally. As a Pac-12 team, you get Washington State, puts up all the points, of course, but Minnesota gets the slot in this one to oppose Washington State.
This should be a pretty good game, actually.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the homer pick. I'm going to take the Golden Gophers just because. Okay.
I'm going to go with the homer pick and go with Washington State.
All right.
See the Cougs get their first bowl win in a while.
They're favored by 10, so if Minnesota wins, it's going to be an upset.
I mean, they put up the points, and I like Wazoo. Final game on Tuesday, the Motel 6 Cactus Bowl, played in Chase Field in Phoenix. Boise State and Baylor. This one could be a shootout.
I got to go with the Broncos, man. I mean, it's Baylor. They've got a ton of problems. They're only 6-6, and they don't have any defense. I think Boise's got more than enough offense to put points on Baylor, and they've got enough defense to shut them down. So I'm taking the Broncos, and I'm going to say they're going to win 57-51.
I'm going to go along with that. I can't in good conscience pick Baylor still. And 6-6, no defense. Sure, they can put up points occasionally, but even then they were shut down a bit down the stretch.
Yeah.
They didn't put up nearly what they could have. So I'll go Baylor. Do we want to go Wednesday just for safe?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do Wednesday just for. Oh, geez, there's like 4 games on Wednesday. Yeah, might as well.
All right, we'll do Wednesday just to be safe. There are 4 games next Wednesday, starting with the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. Number 23 Pitt taking on the Northwestern Wildcats in Yankee Stadium.
This game's starting to become one of those games where it's kind of
a good game.
It's usually a pretty good game. Yeah, it's taking on a bit of a Holiday Bowl reputation where you're always going to get a pretty good game. Boy, I want to pick Pitt, but I've gotten burnt by them so many times. But I like their uniforms better. I'm going with the Pitt Panthers in this one.
I too am going to go with Pitt. Northwestern. I was unaware that they were even bowl eligible. I don't know how they got there, to be perfectly honest. but I like Pitt in that too. If not just for maybe some home field advantage, some very small.
Right.
The Russell Athletic Bowl in Camping World Stadium, Orlando, Florida. Number 16, West Virginia, and the Miami Hurricanes.
Aren't these two? No, West Virginia's in the Big 12, right?
Yes.
They used to be in the same conference.
Yes.
Who do I like in this one? I'm going to take the Canes, I think. I'm going to take the Hurricanes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take the Canes. I think West Virginia has something to prove.
Yeah.
I think they got kind of overlooked all season. And, they were just as good as some of those other Big 12 teams, no matter what you think of the Big 12. So I'll go West Virginia in this one.
Well, Miami's favored. I'm sticking with the Canes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Canes.
West Virginia. The Foster Farms Bowl, the famous chicken.
Okay.
Or turkey chicken. They're a poultry provider.
At the Big Bell Bottom, right?
At the Big Bell Bottom in Levi's Stadium, Santa Clara, California. Indiana taking on number 19, Utah. Indiana, scrappy team. Utah, pretty scrappy team, too. I'm
going with the Utes in this one. I think Indiana will do what they always do. They'll keep it close, but the Utes win in the end.
I got to go with the Utes, too. I like what I've seen from them. And Indiana, I don't have as much faith in them. And the final game on Wednesday, the Advocare V100 Texas Bowl. Texas A&M versus Kansas State in NRG Stadium, Houston.
I'm going to go with the Kansas State Wildcats in this one.
Oh, all right.
And their purple Dallas Cowboys uniforms. Yep. Give me Kansas State.
As the son of a Texas Aggie, I cannot go against the Texas Aggies. And I think Texas A&M is just a better team so far. They showed a lot of promise throughout the season.
I do too, but I also think that the Advocare V100 Texas Bowl is a bit of a letdown for them, so I'm going to take Kansas State. I think they're happier to be there, and why not?
Anything else that you got before we go?
Go college football, go Packers, and enjoy. Have a happy holiday, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and all the other good stuff. Whichever holiday you choose to practice, have a good time with it. For Greg, I'm Zach. This is basically a football show. Follow us on all of our platforms. Enjoy the holiday football.